This is the consolidation report, February 2013 to March 2013. Firstly, administratively, it's going to include all data from the 1st of February 2013 to the 31st of March 2013. All the details regarding videos will be from that time period. All my videos from up to today, 30th, have been uploaded. And this video will also be included in the next section. The video is divided into three parts. The first part is a review over some of the awards, the Diamond, Gold, Iron, Stone Block awards, and the second part will be an overview of every single day, looking at the keywords, looking at the description of videos, and finally I have build of the period, 2-month period. So the first thing to mention is the Diamond Block. And that is that the channel's reached 100,000 views. It's obviously very, it's good that the channel's reached 100,000, but it's a milestone. It's an order of magnitude bigger, and it was a pretty foregone conclusion that something like that, such a sort of huge milestone, would get the Diamond Block for this report. Secondly, the Gold Block. It's going to be the Thorncraft episode. It was part 3 of Thorncraft. It was to do with crystal cores. Did very well, and yeah, I mean it's nearly at 2,000 views now. I think it's 1,900 or something. It's it's well on its way to 2,000 views, which is it's very pleasing, and it helps to drive some of the other videos as well. And then we have the Iron Block. Which is going to be the daily views of the channel going up to 246. That was, I mean, before I was hovering between 50 and 100, well, about 100 and 150. But 150 really would be a very, very strong performance, like one of my strongest. Now it's average or even a bit lower. So to get 246 on one day. And it also ties in nicely with the Stone Block, which was, I got a day with 14 hours. I don't think it was actually that day, but I got 14 hours viewed in one day, which is obviously well on the way now to try to get at least 20, try to get a 24 hours viewed in one day. So now we'll move on to the next section. Okay, so let's now move on to the main area of interest. What I've done here is actually, let's make that a bit bigger. What I've done is I just basically continued it on. So before I didn't do it exactly, I mean I've done it perfectly this time, but before I didn't do the last 2 days. So I think I went up to the 29th, so just to quickly go through these. Went through inventory tweaks, Feed the Beast part 1 on the 30th. And there I looked at inventory tweaks the first time and how you access the menus and the basic functionality of auto sort and chest sort and auto refills. I kind of looked into that. I haven't actually changed the rule trees. It's one which is, I mean, it's useful in a sense, but it's very much one for for survival mode. But it's certainly something I'm looking to. Then we have the consolidation report, the last one, first one even. This is the second, and I put in a few, and I've actually used the same tags for this one, keywords even. And that's it. And I mean, luckily I wrote the format for that then, so it's just always going to be the same. Okay, so let's get to the actual period now. 1st of February, finished off at Adrenaline, and I actually, I didn't write particularly wordy descriptions there, but yeah, so there was that, and then and that was a good map, good puzzle map. I liked the map quite a lot. It was one that I found very easy to do. Then next day we had Aeronev 2, Soul Cauldron Part 2. I didn't actually complete that map. It wasn't, I don't know, it didn't really engage me much. it was. I mean, I'm sure it's a good map, but I found it not to be particularly interesting. I just didn't like it. But I had quite a lot of fun with it, to be honest. What I did with it. Then we had Thorncraft 3 Part 3, which was, as I mentioned just now, the real big. Obviously I've spent a lot of time to deal with the reaction to it, but it was really, really good. I just wrote best new stuff in a new Thorncraft build. I used new twice, and it was at the time. I mean, in terms, it was still pretty. I mean, it was at that point it just gone from 3.02. It was sort of between 3.02 and 3.03. That was pretty much what was going on with it then. I don't believe it's changed that much. But that was like a really good time for Thorncraft. And I kind of knew that. I did follow up with the Arcane Tunnel Bore. Used a Wonder Excavation there. And that was nothing really huge. So I mean, it's still over 100 views, I think. So no. Then I did Extra Biomes XL Feed the Beast Part 1. I put in a lot of cool tags for that one. I put Katali, Hydrangea, the Kayla Lilies. I really enjoyed those quicksand. I really enjoyed doing that. It was a really fun episode, that, and I was really happy with the way that turned out. And it was something good that I wanted to look at with. Okay, so so after that, I sort of thought, basically just go back to Industrial Craft, because the point was to have a kind of, for Industrial Craft, Red Power, and Buildcraft to be, fairly important. That's the way it's going to go. But of course, I did want to introduce new elements, which we'll move on to later in the period. So then we did Industrial Craft 2 Part 5, and we went on to the Terra Firma blueprints. And I did, and I decided to split this into 2 parts. Something that I've kind of done with Potion. It's a good way to, I think, to split these things up, and then it just works well to split them up, especially with Terra Firma blueprints. It didn't make that much sense to have them all in one go. It would have been a bit over the top. And then we moved to Red Power, and this was basically turn the computer on, because at the time I was struggling a bit with getting the boot disk, and eventually when I figured it out, I thought I'd probably just I show the components of the computer system and turn the computer on. So I mean, I was there on the 7th of February. The next day, I moved on to another episode of Red Power, and it's sort of keeping in with this idea. I think it was probably about this time when I realised that actually, I don't ever want to do 2 episodes of the same thing in a row. 3 episodes of the same thing in a row, because 3 episodes of the same thing in a row is too much. 2 episodes in a row is good. But 3 was too much, I think, so we'll stick with 2. And I looked through that, and I turned off and on some lights, which lighting is actually something which kind of interested me through quite a lot of the Red Power stuff, which is pretty cool. And we got Buildcraft, and here we decided to build a big place and make all the chipsets out of got a load of lasers on the ceiling, and and obviously the filler. In general, to be honest, it's been interesting because I've actually acquired there's certain things that I've done. I've certain regular items that I've used, which have kind of helped to define kind of player that I am, and that's good, I think, because it means I use a filler. I do the stuff with the zombie pigmen and the bees, and and I like lighting. So yeah, that's pretty yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, and then we did Rise Redstone. This is quite an interesting episode. Uh, yeah, this is another thing that I'd like to be a sort of trademark sort of thing is not trademark I suppose, but sort of like a personal quality that I have, um, and that was shooting the arrows into the wooden buttons. I don't think it does anything on stone buttons, but in the wooden buttons, it's very cool, and it can. And I think in a large system, it would look very very cool. Yeah. Then we moved back to industrial craft on the 11th, and I focused on the remaining terraform blueprints: flatification, irrigation, and mushroom. That's quite cool. Blueprints are pretty cool. Whether they actually do anything is yeah, it's kind of interesting that they don't really do that much in terms of what's actually, in terms of the biome. They do look. I mean, it does look different, but it isn't actually different. Then I did a gravity gun. I did that in the mushroom area actually, and it was a fairly straightforward episode, that one. And then we did Industrial Car 2 Feed the Palace Part 7, and yeah, this was a good episode. Because one of the things I've been struggling with is EU Partic and EUP, because EUP is rarely spoken about, but it's actually it's by far the most important thing. EU Partic is fairly straightforward in comparison, but EUP allows you to have sort of huge amounts of stuff. And these things will be building power much faster than you would be able to understand from the EU Partic idea. But it's because there's multiple packets. So even if it can only accept that, like whatever, it's 32, it could actually be going up by like 1024 each, just because, if you've got multiple, routing towards it. And I looked at the mining laser as well. And I showed all the functionality. Looked at the energy crystal and lapatron crystal. Fairly straightforward stuff. It's a good episode, that one. There's some very good industrial craft episodes I've done. I'd like them to get more views, I suppose, but in a sense, I think it's not that likely, because it's sort of more like a learning experience for myself, and it's not. It just doesn't work out like that sometimes. Then we moved on to this episode. This episode, Red Power, was more of just spawn everything in and see what you can do with it. I was interested in the the assembler is an interesting item anyway. I looked at it, and I think deployer is probably, I put that first in the list. Probably because I like this idea that that you can enact like the player's right click event on using that block. And then after that, where were we? On the 15th here, Forestry Part 2. So yeah, in the first part of Forestry, I did a farm. What was it? Arboretum I might have done. I think I was doing stuff with sand stuff. Here I decided I kind of got a good idea of bees. I knew what the optimal configuration for some of the sort of the tubing network was for the bees, and with regard to tree breeding. And I was very confident in that episode, and as a result, it did quite well. It's not about 200 views. I'd like it to be near 500 really, but and I did have to re-record some of that episode. It was, but in general, it did go quite well actually. I think, it's a tendency with you talk, it's one of these things where you don't know whether to talk sort of fast and authoritatively, or if you want to talk, sort of friendly way, like smiling all the time. It's one of those things that, you have to consider. but you know, the content was pretty good. I explained a lot of stuff, and I'll talk more about that later because there's a few more episodes. There's a couple more issues with the bees to talk about there. Then we did back to Industrial Craft Part 8. And I went back to that sort of the gate making factory area, and I started to sort of really think about this this binary system, and that was, you make the dust, cook the dust, and you make the scrap, you recycle the stuff to get the scrap to make the UU matter. And I sort of thought about that in that episode. Again, that was a very very enjoyable episode, that one. Episode 8 there, that was very good. Then I said Minecraft features, and this was interesting because obviously it's a new series. Now obviously, because of the nature of the channel, I've been doing a lot of mods. Well, basically, it's all mods, and I knew that I wanted to have a vanilla component. And it took me several name changes before I came up with this Minecraft features name, and and I knew it was the right thing as soon as I thought of it, actually, because and I was thinking about this little contrast between bug and feature, stuff like that, and so that, and then I wanted to, and often with certain series, I'm quite knowledgeable about the part 1 effect, so I wanted to I wanted to give myself the ability to think about these things more kind of later on in the day. Now obviously with the ... in Minecraft series there's computer science components, and I wanted that to be very computer sciencey, but with Minecraft there's some things which, they may be reducible to computer science in terms of like entropy and information science and stuff like that, but I didn't really want to I wanted to basically go to CS rather than the IT side for the actual in Minecraft series. So I knew that this thing like the interstitial block, which is to do with the one tick pulse, I knew that if I could do that, I could incorporate these sort of basically these IT and these IT elements rather than the CS elements that I wanted to have in the in Minecraft series. So that was the thinking behind that. That was a cool thing as well. There's it's a cool idea, to do block updates and ticks and all that stuff. Then I went on to here. I looked at the Computer Craft Part 2. I used the Text Utils API. It's quite interesting, that one. Let's see what I did. Hello World and text, and I realised that you could actually use the computer to get the world time from it, which obviously and it's quite a high level thing to do that, because it basically means that you can get, in theory you can get the computer to do whatever you want at a certain time of the day. You can basically make it like into a scheduler, but of course I wanted to do that because with the computer stuff and the red power, I made sure that I started with very wordy beginnings, because to be honest, there's going to be a lot of episodes where it's just going to be on just sitting on the computer, and that's going to be it. So I wanted to make sure at least they had some sort of wordy beginning, so that in future if someone can watch part 1 and 2 and then they can go forward to part 25 or whatever. This episode, I knew that the Minecraft feature was going to be very important, so as you can see, I guess that technically breaks the rule of having 2 in the same thing, but with Minecraft feature, not really the same, because you're literally doing something different every time, and it's and what I did in this one, these episodes, I researched a lot. I was on the wiki looking at pretty much everything, and you can see I've put opaque, transparent characters. I started to consider these core issues that people think about, opaqueness, transparency. I suppose I didn't think about translucency so much, but you know, I started to think about, well, actually I did. I started to think about all the interactions, you know, and things I push with piston stuff. With minecarts, how did I start with minecarts? Relatively obscure uses. I don't even remember making that one. No, I think I do. Yeah, I know that went to ocelots, so I must have, you know, worked out. You put the cat in the minecart and it goes. Yeah, I also looked at their interaction with creepers there. That's pretty cool. Then we moved to altitude, which I found quite interesting. It's something which is kind of important for mods as well in terms of world gen. So I looked at the altitude, I looked at the ore distribution. Obviously this is still a vanilla series though. I mean, yeah, I mean, there is the issue though. Yeah, actually, I'll work that out. So yeah, and I looked at, you know, I went through, I started at the top, went down the bottom. You know, obviously air is still a block, you know, and sort of clarified some of these things. Yeah, I looked at the ranges, and again, that was kind of derived from the wiki, the Minecraft wiki there. That's a lightning pig. This was just I don't know why I thought of doing this, but this actually ended up sparking the next few videos. I thought, well, maybe I could get a pig struck by lightning. So I did attempt to do it, and it didn't work. But then I started to, but I think I must have at the time been thinking about this lightning effect, and I was thinking about the bees and the forestry stuff, and then it came through in the forestry parts. Now this was an extra bee, but I thought I wanted to do it in forestry because I knew that, you know, apiary is forestry, so technically it is kind of forestry, but yeah, I mean, so I did it in forestry, and I mean that video was quite a short video, about 3 minutes long. And yeah, I was the first person to do this. And to be honest, I think I am the first person to do this. So I've not known. I mean, you could say, oh, well, you know, it's kind of obvious, but at the same time, it's taking two things which are, you know, disparate, right? So you've got, on the one hand, you've got like, you know, making bees that produce lightning, you know. So you could think, oh well, maybe that's good for like someone sort of like castle or something, and that's why you use it. It's like an aesthetic thing. But then I combined that with the fact that the pigs turn into zombie pigmen, and I mean that is the first step towards the you know, the gold nugget farm. So and I don't think that has been done, and yeah, I mean you know, I'm sure, you know, it's not been done. I mean I haven't seen it on the internet on YouTube, so there's that. Yeah, and then I went back to Red Power, taking this idea with zombie. Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't the setup. It's not really. I mean, I really need to work on this like mob spawner setup and farm setup. It's something that I've been holding off, but I kind of like, I don't know. It's almost like I do want to do it, but I don't want to do it in any other way apart from like the best way, because there's no point really. You know, it's because, yeah. I mean, that's just basically it. Okay, so anyway, 26th February, did Omni Tools, the Omni Wrench Forge Lexicon. Yeah, I mean, one of the great things about that was actually being able to turn the slabs around and turn the stairs around like that. I mean, if I do see some proper building, that's going to be very, very useful, because I mean, there's so many times when you place a slab or a stair in the wrong orientation, and it's just not something that I really want to deal with. So it was good to find that out. Actually, it was very good to find that out. And gate in Minecraft. Yeah, it was fairly obvious I was going to do that, I suppose. After we did the ore gates last, North, and then Nangate as well. And Nangate did a lot better. I mean, to be honest, it was not exactly pulling in big numbers, but Nangate did seem to do better for some reason. Don't know why that was. And then we moved on to March. I did my traditional thing with the beginnings at the end and put in a vanilla section of the video at the, which I actually started off in vanilla, but then I put that at the end of the video and then showed it. Yeah, I've explained that before. Did the same with Catharsis. Hop Hop Sprint Month was very, very fun. I was able to pretty much do that in one sitting. And yeah, Catharsis again was very good map, sort of looked similar to all the it's just a proper sort of CTM map. It was Catharsis is really good. It's a really good map. It distills the CTM formula into something quite refined. So then we did returning minecarts. This was just to make a loop for the minecart. I made it go up the hill, I made it go around, and then it was able to return back to the station to go back in the same place. It's obviously a very powerful sort of feature. But I mean, the question is, I feel, for the minecart stuff is how can what is the filler for minecart tracks? That is what I'm thinking about. How there's obviously certain configurations of minecart tracks that enable you can fall down, or you can if you're going at a certain velocity and then the track ends, the minecart's going to go a bit forward, and just like the trajectory of it. And similarly, I mean, that ties in with some of the stuff from Portal Gun mod, actually. Basically, it's just trigonometry, I suppose. So then we did Silverfish Stronghold. And yeah, I mean, that was... I found the first sort of Silverfish stuff. And Stronghold for the first time. I looked at all the different mob eggs. I kind of started to understand what's going on with this. I didn't really understand about the cracked brick, the monster eggs, and funnily enough, that video was so funny because I was just throwing the Eye of Ender about. It wasn't really like rendering properly on the texture pack, and I literally I dug straight down, and then he's just right in the fucking portal room. I mean, it was just very unlikely, because really I just thought, it was almost like I really chose a completely arbitrary moment to dig down. It didn't really seem like the Eye of Ender was doing anything particularly different, apart from just sort of spazzing out a bit. Alright, so Railcraft Part 2. This one, I mean, in Part 1, I said I was going to go into more... I did actually talk about the steel track. I mean, the fact steel seems to make all the tracks. So, I mean, I did kind of do what I said I was going to do in Part 1. And did I mention that here? Yeah. Alright, but I did kind of do what I was going to do, so I'll probably do in Part 1. And then, but what I wanted to do is, because Railcraft isn't really even about rails that much. I mean, it is, quite a lot of it is, I suppose. But, got the feed station, water tank siding. I mean, a feed station, be liquid that up with Mine Factory Reloaded, all that stuff. Water tank siding, I mean, that just literally pulls water from the air. Which is it's like the... I mean, I don't know. It's hard to... I mean, it's like aqueous accumulator, but it's even more than that, really, because it doesn't need any water at all. So, but yeah, I haven't even talked about aqueous accumulator or thermal expansion yet. We'll move on to that later. Anyway... Let's move on. Then I did Feeder Beast Part 9 of Industrial Craft. I looked at the frequency traps, the teleporter. And yeah, I mean, the good thing about the Industrial Craft teleportation system, actually, is that what it does is it allows you to, you can see how much power you're using from it. Whereas other teleportation systems don't really, it's just, that's it, you just go there. But yeah, I mean, teleportation is one of those things that is interesting, but without function, I don't know how useful. I don't know about teleportation really. it is it's still yet to be, there's still yet to be there are certain things that are coming up, I think, that might change that. Then we did Greg Tech. Now this was a really fun episode. I did I used the I basically used the Dragon Age egg energy siphon, and that turned out to be quite a good sort of search term for me. And I mentioned Olivine, and I kind of knew there's a lot of items in Greg Tech, and they kind of built a lot on the industrial craft stuff. Let's see what I've put a very long description for this. Yeah, I did a lot of stuff in that. I think I also used a scuba helmet. I'm not quite sure. I think I was just trying to link that in with industrial craft. Because it is. Ultimately, Greg Tech is an industrial craft add-on. But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of items, so I thought, and I guess it was kind of, I also was right there anyway, at the time, because I was just doing the silverfish stuff. And I thought, there's only a certain amount of, Greg Tech changes the world generation, the end, it has these islands with, all the ore in them. So I thought I'd go there, and I built an industrial grinder, and I got some of these cells and these tiny piles of dust and stuff, and yeah, it's a very fun episode to do, and yeah, it did quite well. As did what happened next day, which was Mine Factory Reloaded. I kind of recorded it in 3 parts. That one. First, I just did a very, very, very quick guide to how to get the Mine Factory rubber trees in the swamp, and then I thought, what, I'm probably not going to do anything on NEI on Ray's minimap, and obviously at the time it was right when Ultimate got when I got Ultimate there on the 8th there, so I thought, FTB album is finally here. I really like the teleportation system on Raise Me Out and the new beacon style thing it's got for your waypoints. Again, those two did very well, and hopefully, I've got high hopes for both of those. Really, hopefully they can start. We'll see what happens over the next month or two. Then we've got extra bees. This was the point when I decided that I wanted to, I wanted to dive, because I knew with extra bees there were things like all the things like the Apiarist database and there's also a lot of genetic machines which are all and they've even got a tiered system and stuff to change various facets of the bees and stuff. And there's also I think there's also extra trees as well, which I may be able to incorporate into extra bees. But I believe it only changes sort of textures of wood and stuff. I knew it had to have its own series, it's good. That series. However I do it, it's going to be it's very likely to be quite a technical series, because it is, it's there's a lot of probability there. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. You have to. Once I start really taking a look at the spreadsheets, I'm sure I'll start enjoying that and getting into that. It's going to be good. Maybe something, a bit like Soul Shards in a way. Those skeletal and creepy bees. It's pretty. Yeah. So anyway, after that we moved on to advanced machines. I wanted to do rotary macerator first. This was just basically a pure maths episode. I got a huge amount of. This is when I actually looked at a spreadsheet and I started to look at the growth to do with there's only three items in advanced machines. It's interesting. It's interesting how that's going to go. But really, it was very, very good to actually see see the numbers for that. To give you it gives you a much more solid feel. When I looked at the numbers, I can kind of tell that. It's numbers and it's a spreadsheet, but it's not really what you actually want to see. Really, what you want to see is you basically just want to see the code behind it, really, because you can tell. A lot of this stuff seems to focus on sort of logarithmic growth. But yeah, don't know. Might have to brush up on that stuff at some point. But then again, you have to brush up on this stuff, but then you have to make it seem like it's not. I mean, this is the whole point about presenting the information. You have to brush up on it, but then you have to be able to somehow incorporate it into such a way that it's not, incredibly boring. And to be fair, I mean, that episode, it was just very mathematical and boring, but it's just one of those things. At part 10, well, I mean, this period I was just going overboard with working. Right, yeah, about this point. I mean, I had pages and pages of notes here. I mean, I covered every single use of the mass rating. I worked out, and this is very interesting to convert low voltage to medium voltage, because this is actually the way you can find out about this stuff. Because I mean, it's one, it's like, because when you're down converting, it doesn't really tell you anything. But up converting, it tells you. It's just obvious. It tells you more when you're up converting. And I did a lot of stuff there, like a lot. I mean, that was literally, it was a huge amount of information that I found, and I just imparted it, and it was some some not particularly normal stuff. And then this was a good episode. Yeah, I like that episode. It's one of those things. I either go way overboard, or I just to make a sort of simple device. And this one was the latter. Then I did tube stuff, which was quite the opposite. And I wrote about 5 pages for that, and that was just absurd. That I didn't even get it to work. But it looked pretty damn cool though. And to be honest, the thing about this was that because of the ultimate update, because thinking about the tube stuff, it's because of the ultimate update. I could tell it was like saying it was like Amoebis core and power converter core, and I knew that like these things are coming in. And I knew that this Mind Factory thing was huge, really. So. And I just want to get, and that was why I did Mind Factory a few days before. I was like, as soon as Ultimate came, I want to get this, I want to jump in, get my foot in the door of Ultimate. That was sort of the feeling behind that. I want to get, straight away. And that's probably why I was working so hard at this point. Because I knew that it was like big action going on. So I thought, yeah, let's do it. And then let's see what's next. Twilight Forest. I think this is a continuation. I mean, Twilight Forest, I don't find that interesting. I mean, yeah, but I mean, it could be. It's just like it doesn't naturally really. It's not. I mean, when you do all the machine stuff, you don't really want to do the RPG stuff as well. But I jumped into it as well. And this was like a biome experimentation sort of thing. Initial goal of covering all the biomes. Looked at the animals. Items, animals, native to each. It's still. I mean, it's still at the end of the day, it's still like a data set, isn't it? So, yeah. I mean, there's that, and then we did Divine RPG Part 1. Yeah, this was basically these 3 episodes. The first episode, I just tore myself up with Helllight armor, and then the other 2, I basically just chose an enemy from each row in EI to fight, yeah, I mean, and that was what I did, and it's not. I mean, it's not the way you're supposed to do it, but it's the way that I play it, which is basically just cheating all the time. I enjoyed it really. I found out some very useful information about the rotor tick mob that drops diamonds, so that could be a diamond spawner. That's the way you got to look at it. But yeah, I mean the enemies are quite interesting actually. I did end up fighting a few bosses. I found a bit. I mean, I know about Divine RPG anyway. Really, what is that? I also did thermal expansion. Finally started that out. I just used a powered furnace. Um, Very simple eyes system. Just wanted to get again this whole foot in the door thing. Just wanted to get a thermal expansion episode out because in a sense a lot of these episodes are a lot of these series are things that I want to be continuing. And this period really was basically saying, these are the series that I'm going to be looking at. And then we did basic potion brewing on the 19th. And yeah, just went through 8 potions there. It was pretty fun. It's a good episode. I like doing those episodes. It's very fun to do the vanilla stuff. Going through the items and stuff. And and that's the thing, because with the vanilla game, it's such an interesting game anyway, Minecraft, that there's always sort of new things or absurd, intricacies which don't think about. Now, Fallout 3 Part 5, I did the Infernal Furnace. That was really fun, that episode. It was really, I don't know what it was. I was just in a very funny mood that day, and I was talking like a super posh accent. Really fun episode that. I did Ultimate Beacon Guide. I just made a super beacon, six block beacon. It's pretty cool. And yeah, part 11 of this. I just went to the Red Rock Mountain, and that was just one of those. That was very sort of, I don't know. I don't want to, it was fun, that episode. Everything was falling all over the place, but it's still fun. Wireless Redstone Part 3, I just made a door. I used, it was right next to the big beacon. I was thinking some of the later episodes, I wish I hadn't built it so fucking near, because it's like, I don't really like the glass. I suppose I could have got one of the, Wand of Exchange or whatever. But anyway, Buildcraft 5 and 6. 5 was another one similar to Red Power 7, I think it is, where I just made a very simple machine. I did a nice bit of routing with it, worked nicely. Now Buildcraft Part 6 though, I went. That was a funny episode. It was good though. I liked it. It basically, because a lot of these episodes I try to sort of imagine what's going to happen in the future when I get better. And so, and it's one of those things that I have a feeling that I'll look back on, and I'll be able to see what I was sort of going for. Even if I don't quite understand it at the moment myself. I looked at geothermal generator. This is going to be a slight shift, looking more at the lava stuff. And it's going to, and then I suppose we're going to look at the magma crucible as well. And then we looked at lighting. It was very interesting, that one. I find it very interesting that when you just have like a whole a floor of lamps, assuming that they're just regular ones. If you just put a switch in the middle of them, it'll turn on 5. And it's interesting to do with the switch placement, how many get turned on. And I just couldn't get the bloody corners to stay on. It's so annoying in Part 8, I tell you. Double inverter in Minecraft. Yeah, the In Minecraft series, I was thinking, like, how am I going to do this? Because I didn't really want to move on to the other gates. I didn't move on to like exclusive or exclusive NOR. I thought, what I could do? I could just double it up. So that was the plan, and it's a good plan, I think. And then we did next one. Did the sorting machine. Got a bit sidetracked there, but I don't know. To be honest, using the Red Power stuff with the Buildcraft and Industrial Craft stuff is all part of it. It's very integral. So it's almost like it's not even a sidetrack really. And then status effects, which was yesterday, comparison, seeing this is going to be uploaded on the 31st. That was just moving on. It was basically, so far there's been 3 parts of that with it's all been tier 1, and I went through 11 of them in that episode, in episode 11 there. and then today's, which is basically this. So yeah, so I'm just going to end the video now by okay. So just to finish off, I wanted to do the bee thing again. So just try to make some normal pigs here. Yeah, no way about. I've got a few pigs here. Just go up. We can find a time. There we go. Build a small platform, and yeah. So just put the queens in. Just do it, you know. Just put a couple in there, and as you can see. There we go. So yeah, I mean that's it for this consolidation report, and we're of course doing well at the end of May as well. So thanks for watching.